Hey, hello, VC community, vinyl people out there. Thanks for stopping in to Tony's LPs R Us. Today, my topic is a quick one. I've been pondering this for a long time, and now I'm able to put it out there, and hopefully, I'll get some responses in some of your picks. But what OG album, classic rock album, needs a MOFI, one step, or UHQR press treatment? And the album that I was always thinking about, and I'll give you my reasons why, is one that sold over 43 million copies all over the world. I think 14 million copies in the US alone. Won 14 times platinum in the US, which is 14 million copies. Has an all-star cast on the original pressing, an all-star producer on the original LP who produced it, and is on a major label. And that is this album, MEATLOAF, Bat Out of Hell. Here's an original press, the orange Columbia label on Cleveland. And here is the inner, the original inner. Has all the credits, most of the credits. There's some credits I had to look up. And the original was 77, no barcode. And this came out while I was in college, and this was like lightning struck. This album was as big as the first Boston album, maybe even bigger. Maybe has lasting value. It was just tremendous. It was something. It had so much energy, so much synergy within itself that it took on a life of its own. I even remember at weddings when the DJ would put on certain tracks, the whole floor would erupt, and Paradise by the Dashboard Light was actually acted out on one side of the dance floor were the guys, and one side of the dance floor were the girls, and it would act out that whole scenario. And I believe this album needs a repress. The original pressing was done over at Terre Haute, Indiana. Columbia had a pressing plant there. They picked up that pressing plant, or bought that pressing plant in June of 1953. It was a furniture factory. And in 1953, it opened, and it closed in 1982. Now, Terre Haute can actually be identified on the dead wax by a T. And the pressings that I have, the original press has those T's in there. So that's a Terre Haute. Now, Terre Haute isn't known for superior pressings. They're kind of noisy. Durability-wise, they don't hold up. And for whatever reason, at that point, even in the 70s, vinyl for domestic pressings were noisy, was noisy vinyl. So this album never had a sound. It's muddy. I believe that the treble and the bass aren't there. There might be some mid range that's missing. It just needs to be really done well with a one step or a Chad UHQR. It really needs that. And another reason I think it needs that is this record clocks in at over, I believe it's 46 minutes total. So that's approximately 23 minutes per side. And as you know, that's not conducive to good sound. What we want to see is something between 17, 18 minutes per side, and you would get a much higher sonic outtake and much higher fidelity. Now, I'll use as an argument one album that I always thought needed a repress and was finally done by MOFI, and then it was a one-step, was Dylan's Blood on the Tracks. That clocks in at over 25 minutes a side. I believe the entire record's over 50 minutes, which is incredible because it sounds better than the original. Sounds better than the Bat Out of Hell album, but it needed that treatment, and the treatment on the one step is just fantastic. And being it has that much music on it, each side on the one step is over 15 minutes long or under 15 minutes long, depending on the side. So just imagine if you had MEATLOAF stretched out over four sides at 45 RPM, what type of fidelity we have. Now, just a little background on the album, besides how much it sold, we all know it's a classic album. Everyone should have one. But we had Max Weinberg from Bruce Springsteen's band, Roy Bittan from Bruce Springsteen's band playing drums and piano. We had Edgar Winter doing the saxos. We had the late great Yankee Hall of Famer Phil Rizzuto, the Scooter, who did the play-by-play, and we even had it produced by Todd Rundgren. And it was recorded actually at Bearsville Studio. Some of it was, and I believe some of it was recorded in New York. It was mastered at the Cutting Room by this person here. Let me see. I have some notes. Let me see. Joe Biscio. He actually mastered the original. And in the dead wax, it indicated that he actually would etch in or print or would have stamped Joe. And I haven't seen that on my dead wax, but I do have the T from Terre Haute. So I really think that this could actually improve, and it would be, I know it would be a complete sellout. Most MOFI sell out anyway. UHQR, depending on the press run, sell out. So either Chad or MOFI out there. That's my pick for a new press. I'm not really in some of the presses that are a pre-order. As far as the Van Halens, they're all great, but I don't love them. I did order the Elvis one step. I'm looking forward to that, but that was about 4 years ago when I ordered that, so I'm not sure when that's going to be pressed. I'm going to also show you the reissue of Bat Out of Hell. That's on the Epic Black label, and this has a barcode. So when you see the barcode, it's a little later, and the original does not have the barcode. Here's the spine, and the original inner comes with that. And as a brief footnote, I'm going to show you an earlier Meatloaf album, and this was called Stony and Meatloaf. And this was actually on MOFI. This was actually on Motown, not MOFI. This was on Motown, and this is a classic as a collector. So Meatloaf was on Motown. It was Meatloaf and Stony, and then a few years later, he did the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and then he actually became immortal. The late great Meatloaf became immortal with the Bat Out of Hell, Jim Steinman's songs. So that's about it. And I also have my pick of the day, which I think is an audiophile sounding pressing, but it's only an OG domestic run-of-the-mill 12-inch. And that's up here. That's Elvis Costello, The Only Flame in Town. This is a 12-inch EP. This is a promo, actually. It's a 33 1/3. You see the promo stamp. This is tremendous. This is the mix on here is The Only Flame in Town from the album Goodbye Cruel World, and also includes a great version of Baby It's You. And it has Pump It Up, Monster Mix from this year's model. But the special guest duet is Daryl Hall is on The Only Flame in Town, and that's pick. If you get a chance, look this up. I picked this up at Sight and Sounds for $1, I believe, back in the old days. Here's the label. It actually has the barcode on the label, which is cool. And actually, it's funny because Baby It's You is a Burt Bacharach tune, and we just lost Burt Bacharach at age 94 a few years ago, and this was also Burt Bacharach and probably Hal David. So we have Pump It Up, Monster Mix, and then on one side, which takes up all the wax, is 440, The Only Flame in Town, and this will blow your mind. This is a demo record. You put this on, and your friends will be going to their phone to try to pick one up. So that's again, thanks a lot. My pick for a MOFI one-step or a UHQR repress is the classic 1977 Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. It really needs a treatment. The record itself has too much information for a domestic press, and the pressing was noisy. It was muddy. It's still great. The value is there for the sound, but I always wanted a better sonic, better acoustic, better mid-range than what we get from this album. And I have multiple pressings of this album, and they're all basically the same. So that's my pick. Let me hear your comments. I want to see what you would want for a one step or a UHQR. Thanks a lot. Keep rocking. Stay safe. Tony out. Ciao. Thank you.